Man, I was laughing so hard last night because yesterday morning I made a video. I uploaded it, and while I was uploading, I went away to work, and then I didn't have time to put up what it was about. And normally I save the video with the name of what it's about, but I didn't have time. So I was kind of running out the door. So then it was uploaded when I came home, obviously, and I just typed in, I couldn't actually remember what I had said. And I had not kept a record, which I normally do. I was kind of rushing. And I was laughing so hard because I was like, I think I talked about leaky gut. That kind of covers everything. So I put up leaky gut. And then when I listened to the video, I uploaded it with the titles and everything. I didn't put up much because I couldn't remember that much. And then I put up that it was about leaky gut and gut microbiome or something like that. And then I looked at it, it's like listening to it saying, oh, it was probably pretty good. And there it was. It was about brain health. Lads, I seemed like I was cognitively impaired, that I couldn't remember what I did in my own video. But remember, there was about 9 hours or 10 hours between making the video, kind of in a rush, uploading and heading off, and then coming home and going, oh, I wonder what I was talking about in that. So it's like, so I had to listen to it a second time, and it was like laughing so hard, saying, oh, you're talking about brain health, but you forgot what your video was about, and you totally weren't talking about leaky gut. Well, I guess they kind of are very related anyway, because all kind of illness or chronic illness or diabetes type 3, as they call it, which is dementia or Alzheimer's, are caused really initially by leaky gut, ongoing leaky gut, which I would rather describe as insulin resistance. But it's kind of harder to understand what that is. So insulin resistance is where you are spiking your insulin too often over time, and your cells, some of your cells eventually just have no idea what insulin's talking about anymore. It's like hearing something too often and then not hearing it anymore. So they're not responding to insulin, which they should be. So your body is not operating at optimal level, which they reckon there's about 88% of the Western world's population, because of ultra processed foods and refined carbs, that we are insulin resistant. So anyway, I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh, take cod liver oil, because then you're going to have a great brain. And then I come home and I don't even remember what my video is about. Gut microbiome, they're all interrelated. Like insulin resistance is different. My latest obsession is hyperinsulinemia. So that's basically the same thing. So insulin resistance is where the cell rejects the information from the insulin, which is a hormone, the fat storage hormone and the glucose dispersal hormone. But on the other side of that, it's hyperinsulinemia, where we're releasing too much insulin all the time and our body is exhausted from this constant. Dr. Jason Fung has written a book recently about its impact on the increase in the levels of cancer, particularly in young people. It takes, from what I can see, it takes kind of between 3 and 10 years for insulin resistance to kind of come, and hyperinsulinemia to come on full tilt. So that's why people are starting to get these illnesses, chronic illnesses, earlier. They were known as the diseases of the old, alcoholic disease, and now we're seeing a lot of non-alcoholic fatty liver, and that's coming from sugar, our intake of sugar. And I was just as guilty as everybody else. I grew up on a farm. We ate relatively good food. The only thing that we ate that I now look back on, which was probably contributing to our insulin resistance, was white potatoes, and then the introduction of white bread. So we would have eaten a lot of brown bread, and then as we started getting a bit older, we'd be pushing our mother to buy, the modern food, which seems so shiny and new. That is all I ever wanted. I wanted to get off that farm, and I wanted to eat as much white bread as possible, because we were eating my mother was kind of really into healthy kind of eating off the farm, eating the animals, eating, good vegetables that she grew herself. I mean, my mother's her greatest compliment to herself, she was a great cook. She is a great cook. Her greatest compliment to herself was that she did not have to spend only very little money in the local shop all that year, because she would make everything from the farm. Phenomenal cook, phenomenal person, phenomenal. But in actual fact, insulin resistance can be caused by eating a lot of white potatoes. So, because it's like eating little bags of sugar, really. It's not as bad. Obviously, it's a little bit of fiber, but we don't generally eat the skins or close to the skin, like we're whipping that bit off. So, my dream was to have as much white food products as possible. I thought that was the good diet. I thought that I would, no, okay, yeah, of course I understand about fiber a little bit, but I thought that was like the inclusion of bran, that kind of stuff. But to me, that was a much better diet, eating a small amount of sugar, little and often. I never really understood about protein and fats and all this. And even when I first came to I'm now doing keto more than nearly a year and a half. And it was such an alien concept. It was such an alien concept because the food pyramid is lots of carbs. Lots of carbs. Okay, good carbs, like brown bread, brown rice, blah, 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 all low glycemic index. And these are marginally better. But if you look at any of the guys that are online and they're doing the CGM, continuous glucose monitor, they're not actually minimizing the spike in your insulin as much as you think. So they're not as good as we think, but they're better than nothing. But my dream. And once I got into that white carb world, then was many years of addiction. Yum, yum, yum. And I can't say I really regret it until I started feeling like rubbish. And then when I look back at some of my more white carb eating people that I used to, live in flats with or whatever, they had a lot more problems like fibromyalgia and all that kind of stuff, autoimmune, that PCOS that I didn't have because I did retain the fiber. That's the one good thing, I guess, from growing up in a brown bread making mother's house, is that I would eat a lot more fiber than my maybe non-farm reared counterparts. So there was a little bit of a benefit, but later on I started having some problems, IBS, these kind of unknown fatigue, getting viruses. When I thought I was relatively healthy, I would be eating a lot, but it was the wrong food with no nutrients. I really, 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 like in some ways, I kind of feel bad that I didn't understand about nutrients. And then you can say, well, how could I have understood about nutrients? Like, why aren't they teaching this stuff in school? I mean, they should be teaching us about nutrients in school, but we don't learn any of that stuff. We learn about the food pyramid and we learn how to, cook your average. I only did home economics in first year. I wasn't really that interested. I'm an okay cook, but I'm kind of, couldn't be bothered. So I eat a lot of kind of raw stuff. I fry eggs, and like what I had today now was fried eggs and rashers. I had like 7 rashers and 5 fried eggs, and I put loads of salt and pepper on them, and that's what I eat. It's fried in. Today I didn't have any coconut. Usually I like coconut oil with butter, but today I just put extra virgin olive oil, which some people argue about the smoke point and that it becomes toxic after a certain amount of extra virgin olive oil. But I don't worry. Like, you can't worry about everything. I'm sure I'll find out about that later on. And then I put butter in it, and then I put all the rashers in the 2 pans. I have 2 really old crappy frying pans. Everybody's always giving out. They're not really non-stick. I think they once were non-stick, but they're not non-stick anymore. So anyway, I kind of like it though. And then the rashers are kind of stuck to the thing. I like them really like fried up, like grizzly and crunchy. And then I take the rashers out of one of the pans, put them all into one pan, turn it off, and put the eggs in with extra butter. And then I slop the kind of, oil and extra virgin olive oil and butter. I like put it over the top of the eggs to leave them runny, but I don't like when the white bit is runny. So that's what I eat. This morning I treated myself to breakfast. I don't normally eat before kind of at 10 o'clock on weekdays, but on weekends, yeah, I mean, I would have a bit of a sleep in and have my eggs and bacon. So that's what I had. Several cups I have an espresso machine, which I got recently in Lidl. It's so good. I love it. But there's like coffee grounds everywhere. I just buy the Lidl coffee and I mix it up, the number 5 and the number 4, which are really nice. It's kind of a nice nutty flavor together. It's the Italian and the French. And when it's only the French, it's a bit too heavy and dark and strong. And then when it's the Italian, it's a little bit lighter. But when I put the 2 of them together, I mix them up in my little container. I keep it in the fridge, which a lot of people argue, oh no, you shouldn't keep your coffee in the fridge. But I keep mine in the fridge because it stays it gets rancid otherwise. The oil gets rancid in, whereas it doesn't if it's in the fridge. I use it pretty quickly anyway. So anyway, so I have that, and then I have these little tiny little espresso cups, and I have heavy cream. I didn't get any heavy cream this week. I bought the big tubs of normal cream, pouring cream, and I just pour in some of that. It's so nice, and it doesn't spike your insulin. So the big thing for me is, I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, of course, I'm not going to live forever. Nobody's going to live forever. I'm not into, Brian Johnson is doing a great job at trying to live, long term. I don't always get out for walks. I don't live a perfect life, but I do want to be healthier for longer. I don't want to end up in the hospital for no reason. I don't want to end up losing, having, stiff joints. I have none of that. I don't want to have, bad brain health. I want to live as well as I can, have a great quality of life for as long as possible. So that's really what I'm doing. And also I kind of like the challenge of the experiment, because believe me, I am the last person who could ever give up white bread. I'm the last person who could ever give up beer. I am the last person that would ever think that would be me, because I love those things. I still love them. Why not? They're fabulous. I love them. But I just do this because I feel so good. I feel so good. I feel I have zero anxiety. I have zero worry. I have zero mentally and physically. I have zero stiffness. I have, not that I ever expected to have it, but I think when you get a bit puffy, when you're eating a lot of refined carbs, you kind of feel like all of those feelings. And you're kind of wondering, is this aging? What's this? I don't feel any of that now. And I feel like everything in my brain works really well, which sounds really weird and stupid thing to say, but I just feel so good. So I continue on. I don't get too worked up, but if I have a night out and I have, a bottle of wine, 2 bottles of wine, I don't get too worked up about it. I don't go, oh my God, I'm not living clean. I think that is just as bad, living like that and feeling like, oh my gosh, you got to be, this kind of dry balls all the time. I don't want to be like that. Other people can be like that. I don't want to be like that. And definitely the weight loss part was more important early on, but now I don't think about that almost at all. Like in the last couple of months, I've put on about 10 pounds because I haven't been out walking. And I think that's where the balance is. You're always going to have a little bit of extra weight if you're not doing the exercise. But I don't really worry about it because it's not so much that my body is feeling it badly, but it's definitely, my pants is a bit tighter, buy a stretchy pants. But I'm not fat, and I don't feel fat. I don't feel unhealthy. I feel like my insides are clean. And I've said it in so many of my early videos, I feel like my organs thank me every day. And since I upped the amount of cod liver oil, the omega-3 cod liver oil that I take, I know this sounds weird, but I feel like my brain is thanking me every day more than when I wasn't taking it, or when I was taking very little of it, which was the dose on the pack. I just upped it a little bit. And I take 4 or 6 tablets a day, which is like those big, like gelatin tablets, omega-3 fish oil it's called. And I buy the cheap one. I mean, I'm sure the expensive ones are way better. They're probably more pure, but I haven't noticed too much difference right now. When I have more money, I'll buy the more expensive ones. That's fine. But right now, I'm like anybody else here. I'm living on a budget as well. So I just absolutely feel now as well like my brain is saying thank you, but I feel like my insides are constantly saying thank you. And I also I don't want to be preachy about it. I'm only doing this because I didn't know how good I could feel, and I want other people to be able to see that somebody else is doing something, and that, maybe I can try that. Listen, I get lots of hate as well. I get plenty of people who say, oh, how do you know what you're talking about? Because at the end of the day, we depend so much on our doctor. Like even recently, I said to someone about the blood results, And these are my blood results. These are my blood results, and they're almost perfect. And that was after 6 months of keto. I'll be taking my bloods again. I was hoping July, but it might be September now before I get back to the doctor. So like I feel so good, and I want people to know that you can. I got these. I asked the doctor to email them to me, and I printed. There's 11 pages there, 11 pages, and I read them myself. You can read them. I don't have to be a doctor to do that. I have a lot of qualifications in other stuff, mainly business. But I don't see why I should have to validate that I can read my own blood results. I can actually tell how healthy I am. And this is what upsets me for people that I hear who have, episodes, medical episodes, and that they don't believe that they can actually understand their own health. But I'm not some purist, we really live in the real world. I want to have a real life, and I love having fun as well. So, but I feel great, and I want to share that with people. I feel great, and you can feel great too. You don't have to do what I do, but life is so good mentally and physically. And that's another thing. When I see people feeling bad about themselves, and I think it has so much connection with their food, depression, all of these things, I think have a huge connection to food. We are waiting for the big boys, the big medical people to tell us. And are they going to tell us? Do they even know? I don't know. So anyway, that's up to yourself. But anyway, I was just having a laugh about yesterday. That was about brain health, but I said leaky gut. So today I'm going to put title of this thing, inflammation. Because I guess it all comes back. If you look at hyperinsulinemia, if you look at insulin resistance, it all comes back to the same thing. What's it doing to your body, which is inflammation. The hyper-processed foods, the over-processed foods, the white carbs, the sugar, they are causing inflammation in your body. And I'm talking about, I'm talking about you not putting these with some of your meals. Like having a little bit of carbs in every meal is bad. Don't do it. But have the carbs in the evening. If you're going to have the carbs, get up in the morning, have eggs and bacon, or do whatever the vegan or vegetarian opposite is, and then I eat nuts for my lunch usually. Now I've been eating too many nuts, which is why I've got extra 10 pounds, because I like go through bags of them because I cannot stop myself. So, but they're, overall they're not bad for me, but like I'm definitely eating like 1 million calories a day and that. But I just got a bit obsessed with them recently. At the beginning when I was doing keto on weight loss, I did not eat nuts. And I think that if you're on the weight loss part of keto, you should definitely avoid nuts if you can. But I don't really care now anymore, and I feel so good. But at the same time, oh my God, I could eat 2 or 3 bags of pistachios. Like it's not good. So, so like get going if you're interested. And some people are going to hate me. They're going to, oh, well, you can't know this stuff. Okay, maybe I can't, but I feel amazing. Mentally and physically, I feel amazing. And I don't want to get sick. I think, somebody said to me recently that people like being sick. I understand that. I understand that we all want something to kind of hook onto, and it gives us a kind of a definition. And also we have a culture probably of feeling like it's going to happen. When you get older, you're going to get sick in some way, and that it's inevitable. And yeah, there's a certain inevitably. Of course, your body is not as young and fresh as it was one other time. But overall, I think that I would not give up feeling like this. I would not give up feeling like this, even though I couldn't remember what my video was about yesterday. What I should have done was just looked at it again, but I was just too lazy, too tired. And so listen, just I would say give it a try. Peace out.